105. This is the bill. This is Senate bill, the automatic stay bill. Mr. Fry is recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate that. This has been a long time coming. We've seen this bill on the calendar for a long time, probably since last year.
30 seconds.
I wanted to spare the body, along with the help of Mandy Powers-Norrell to my left, with weeks of debate and amendments, so we kind of came up with an agreement that we would pull down all amendments, including potential amendments, and debate the bill itself and the merits of the bill. Happy to do that. I don't want to put this body through. I don't think she wants to put this body through 3 weeks of intense debate. But here's where we're at and why this bill's needed. I know I've talked.
All right, House will come to order. Got members complaining they want to hear what's going on with this bill. It's been on the calendar a while. Mr. Fry is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This kind of came, and what we see in this state is overall why I think this bill is needed is that it prevents public funds and certainly private funds, saving the taxpayers millions of dollars by reforming the way that we challenge the permitting process. And I'm going to explain the permitting process here shortly. The bill does not eliminate the automatic stay. I think as a conservative, I would say that governments make mistakes, and we need to have the ability to challenge permits, but it should not be unfettered and it should not be unlimited to where you hold up projects, you hold up roads, you hold up developments for baseless accusations. This allows you to get in front of a judge a lot more quickly. And of course, I think what it does in good faith is it levels the playing field and it restores a balance so that you've got anti-development interests over here on the same page as development interests over here. So the Senate bill as is, and I'm going to walk you through the permitting process. If you're trying to build a road, you're trying to build a neighborhood, you're trying to build a Lowe's Foods, you're trying to deepen the port of Charleston, you're trying to get a Boeing plant in Charleston, you're trying to do whatever it is, there are several permits that you've got to get. State law says that you have to get all your state permits in line before you get your federal ones in line. So when you go through the process of getting a permit, it isn't like you just ask for one and you're given it. You go through a pretty laborious process on multiple permits of applying, working with the agency itself. Oftentimes you have times where there's public comment, public notice, where they can come forward and give their input on a bill, or not a bill, but a project, take into account that. And after all this stuff is taken in and all this process that could take 6 years to a month or 6 years or 6 months to a year, at the very end of it, you've got all your permits in line, and that's where what we're dealing with today is somebody requests for a contested case hearing. They essentially file a lawsuit. You don't have to show anything in that lawsuit. You could say that the sky is pink in that lawsuit. You could have the most baseless challenge in that lawsuit, but it stops that project cold in its tracks. And what we have seen, I think, with the Boeing plants and things like that is that tool is used to run up the cost. That tool is used to pay a lot of extra money from the Treasury. It's used to deter businesses. I think there are several letters on your desk from business groups on how this will help attract industry and how it will actually restore a balance. So when that lawsuit is filed, right now there's no end in sight. You've got to wait till the court calls you up. That could take several years. It could take a year. Then you've got your appeals process on the back of it. And so oftentimes it's not the actual use of the stay, it's the threat of the use. And so what we see, what this bill seeks to do is to limit the stay to 90 days, at which point you will move to lift the stay and you get in front of a judge to let them weigh the arguments. I think that the LAC report on Boeing amply discusses how this change is needed. I think we've seen time and time again throughout South Carolina where the taxpayers are on the hook and where the business interests are on the hook for mitigation that goes way far in excess of what federal law or state law requires.